Welcome, everybody. So glad you are here. By the way, I retired on June 30th, so I am now retired. I am not the senior minister here anymore. I made it almost 11 years, but I was, well, as we all know, it's good to know when to retire. And I remembered that little fact, and I'm enjoying my retirement, although I had to spend several days in the hospital. I got COVID and then pneumonia, so, you know, what can you say? But welcome to First Unitarian Society. I hope you enjoy our building. This building was built by an architect who belonged to the congregation, so it was always a humanist building. If you look around, you will see that there are no symbols here at all. We are not anything specific, and we also don't have any national things like flags up here either. We are people who are very skeptical about symbols, and so this building doesn't have any. We do have a few things. This was the biggest window wall in 1951 west of the Mississippi, and that is letting in the light of reason, as you might figure there. And also you'll notice the square is used a lot as a motif through the building. You see it especially outside. A couple of other things. We are now, well, Tim back here, is that an orange shirt or peach? I don't know. I don't know colors very well. It's cream. Tim is in the creamsicle shirt. He is our facilities manager and is brilliant and can fix everything that you need fixed. And you see what good shape this building is in. By the way, we are removing the pews. We have already done the fundraising for that to put some chairs in here so we have more flexibility in terms of how we can arrange things and to look a little less churchy. We are the most radical congregation in the Twin Cities, but we still look like a church a little bit. So we're going to remove those and also fix this terrible asbestos floor. Any of you who have 1940s or 50s buildings know how much that permeates everything. Another thing about this building, in the Twin Cities, there are very few brick buildings. There's not a lot of brick production up here. So the walls, you notice, are used brick. Those are from the tearing down of a black neighborhood in Chicago. When the Dan Ryan was built, it was very specifically designed to destroy the black neighborhoods on the south side of Chicago. Those are the old apartments that were there. And we bought the brick used in 1950. But so there is blood in those walls, as there is in so many things that we Europeans did around here. Do enjoy looking around the building. I'll talk a little more about the history after a while. We do have non-gender restrooms to the left out this floor and also down the stairs and to the left again. A bunch more down there if these get stuck up. Also, this is the hottest weekend in Minneapolis this summer. It's predicted to be. 90 degrees makes Minnesotans whine a bit. But you know, we've been enjoying 70s and 80s degree weather. I was hoping that would hold, but it's not, but nice and sunny. Do, if you get a chance, go over to the Walker Art Museum. Is the Keith Haring exhibit still up? The Keith Haring exhibit is still up over there. Also be sure to go to the sculpture garden where the famous spoon is, and you'll enjoy wandering around over there. Those of you who can't walk through the park, Loring Park just across the street here saw that there is an art fair today, so definitely try to enjoy that. There's also something called Aquatennial, which will be going on around the Stone Arch Bridge. The Mississippi River in this city is the only city in the U.S. where it goes east and west. So don't be confused, you people who grew up somewhere else on the Mississippi. That's not north and south, it's east and west, and you have not lost your mind. The city is here because of St. Anthony Falls. This became the center for grain, especially bread. So wheat, haul it in, grind it up, and send it down the river to points south. Pillsbury is a big name here. So you'll see that everywhere, gold medal flour. Most of the white flour, the stuff that killed us boomers back in the Wonder Bread days, was made here. As a matter of fact, it is explosive, and you can see part of a mill that exploded because white flour is about as fake as you can get, right? And someone apparently threw a cigarette in it, and that is what happens. Nowadays it's not, so it's a little safer to be around here. When this building was built, you could see the Mississippi from here. It is right over there, but alas, no longer can you do that. But be sure to wander around the building and check out the scenery. So if you have any questions, I can answer, Tim can answer, and we can get you going on that. Otherwise, we will go forward. So welcome, everyone. I hope you feel welcomed. Yes, it's a Unitarian space, but it has never, ever been a church. I will talk about the history of this particular congregation later. So those pews are legitimately humanists, okay? So welcome, everybody.
All right. Well, just before we get to the panel, I just want to offer a huge welcome to all of you. As I said earlier, I am Dr. J. Exodus Hooper. It is good to see you, see my family, my ethical culture family, where I originated. I have been, of course, here for a full year. I've actually been in relationship with First Unitarian Society for over 5 years, ministering with them over the summer, and have stepped in as their Minister of Lifelong Learning, and now is transitioned into the summer minister, and as well as other things. I wear many hats, as y'all can tell. I'm always changing, and that's all right. And I also just want to say it is wonderful to see us in person, right? That is a thing to see. Yeah. We should rejoice in seeing that, you know, and that is an expression of probably one of the most beautiful qualities of ethical culture is our aliveness. Right? Our aliveness is the spirit to be able to actually look at each other, gaze upon each other, gaze upon the world, gaze upon the earth, and be in wonder and be in awe and be in curiosity, and at the same time stand in the courageousness that we can actually share in together. So I welcome you to this space. It is an honor to be here with you. I want to read this in your hearing because I felt like this was very appropriate before we go into our panel. It's a poem by William Stafford. It's probably one of my favorite. It's a ritual to read to each other. It simply says the following: if you don't know the kind of person I am, and I don't know the kind of person you are, a pattern that others made may prevail in the world, and following the wrong God home, we may miss our star. For there is many a small betrayal in the mind, a shrug that lets the fragile sequence break, and sending the shouts, the horrible errors of our childhood, storming out to play through the broken dike. And as elephants parade, holding each elephant's tail. But if one wonders, the circus will not find its way to the park. So I call it cruel. And maybe the root of all cruelty, to know what occurs, but never recognize the fact. And so I appeal to a voice, to something shadowy, a remote, important region in all who talk. Though we could fool each other, we should consider, lest the parades of our mutual lives get lost in the dark. For it is important for the awake people to be awake, or a breaking line will discourage them back to sleep. The symbols we give, yes, no, maybe, should be clear. The darkness around us is deep. As I listened yesterday, I heard many folk have somewhat, as I like to call, an ethicostal experience. As y'all know, I am culturally Pentecostal, as well as I am a humanist, which is probably why David is writing this holiness humanist stuff in the chapter. I like a good moment of enthusiasm, so I invite you to celebrate with us. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate this movement, even if it may seem small. Small things, even the small things, have the greatest might. And I invite you to celebrate your might today. So I am really happy to have you here. Welcome this morning. I'm excited for this panel. We have before us with this panel as I transition, and before I transition, actually I have one little small announcement. Richard Coyle, can you please raise your hand? Boom. That is your pastoral care expert right there today. We also have with us, I saw another person who is Christian. I'm like, where is the magic? Okay, Christian Hayden as well is pastoral care. Okay, so if you need any kind of care, you find yourself kind of being like, hey, I need a moment to just kind of decompress, I want you to capitalize off of that moment. I want you to feel certain that people are here to care for you. Self-care is a part of culture care. You cannot do this work unless you engage in your own self-care as a part of culture care. So please know that. That is important in this space. So I want to name that. Also later today, as David has also announced everything about the building, so much about Minneapolis and Minnesota, we have one of our members from FUS coming today to give a tour of the building. His name is Bruce, and the tour will take you into a journey and wonder about every aspect of this building and all of the facts and all of its history. I asked Bruce to do that, so he is kindly coming in today. So even if you feel like you don't want to do a session or you need a little break from a session, feel free to tag with Bruce. Bruce is gonna, I tell you, he is an enthusiastic old chap, and I love him. I love him dearly. Such an open-hearted person. So I invite you to take that into consideration today. So, y'all ready to start this conference?